Hello and welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Vanelli. Okay, let me switch the camera view one moment. Sorry about that. There we go. All right, so hello and welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Vanelli. Now, our topic today is how to streamline our editing workflow by using batch processing inside Luminar. All right, we're going to take one image, we'll enhance it, get it the way we like it, and then from there, we'll create a look and then apply it to the rest of the images. All right? So before we begin, let's take a quick moment and thank our partners. Fujifilm. Make images, share stories, and experience moments at the speed of life with Fujifilm. Thank you for staying at home with us. And we're back. Let me make sure I have the correct microphone. There. All right, just checking. Good. All right, guys. Now, let's dive right in. And here we are. Great. Now let me know if the microphone is fine and you're able to hear me properly. All right, hello, Russell. All right, so here we are. This entire series was shot with one of the models that's local here in Florida, Sydney Felton. I'm going to go through and do a quick edit, then we'll do the batch processing, and then I'm going to go back over again and show you how I would do this if this were a real situation or a real shoot. All right? So the first thing I want to do is I selected some of my favorites, and let's use this one here, and I'm going to adjust it and just revert it back to the original. All right, so here we are. Now, let's start off right away. I came over to Looks, and from the Looks palette, or from the Looks collection, what I decided to do was pick one of the looks from the portrait selection. So here's portrait, and we're going to start out with the female look. Good. Now, the female look here, that's going to apply, let me bring it up over here, that's going to apply the base that I'm looking for. It's going to give me the essentials that I need over for the portraits, and it's going to give me a good overall base to start with. So here's before, here's after. Already it's looking better, but you know what? That AI accent, that's really going to make a huge difference. Look at that. That's going to bring out a lot of the hidden details of the image. Detail enhancer, I want to really bring that up just a little bit. And I'm going to keep the small details a little bit less because I want to keep the skin looking nice and smooth. Then I'm going to jump, in fact, while we're here, I don't want to use vignette quite yet. So under the portrait enhancer, I really want to increase the eyes. Sid has incredible eyes, so I really want to bring those out. Move any of the dark circles underneath. And then I am going to apply AI Skin Enhancer for her face in case there's blemishes, not just on this image, but on others. And if there's any shine removal, we'll throw that in there. Now keep in mind, if Luminar doesn't find it, it won't apply it. So here's before. Good with the Skin Enhancer, and after. Notice how it's still keeping the pores forming. And let it refresh. There we are. Before, after. Now, one thing I'm noticing it's doing, which she doesn't need, is slimming of the face. I'm going to leave that off. All right. So, excuse me, here we are. And we'll go through all the cropping and stuff. So I have it set now. From here, I like to come down and save it as a look. I'm going to make it I'm going to put underscore so it goes in the very beginning. Let's just call this Beauty Studio version 2. And here it is because I did them earlier today. So here's the Beauty Studio. So I have this set. I like how it looks. Now, what I want to do is take this particular look and batch process it to all the images. So I'm in grid view. Now these are the favorites that I picked. Notice I picked them from different sets. I'm going to stay with the blue dress for a moment. Now since this is already selected, I could right-click, adjustments, and copy the adjustments. Now when I select all, let's say these blue dresses here, I can right-click, adjustment, paste it. Now I can paste those adjustments, and I know that I have adjustments to them because I have the adjustment icon right here. So that's one way of doing it. I'm going to select all again, and I'm going to, for the adjustments, revert to original. All right. We'll take that original one again. I'll deselect. I have that original one again. Since I made it a look, I'm going to come over here to the Luminar looks, select it. Actually, I use Studio 2. I'll use Studio 2. There it is. So now that I have that look selected, I'm going to come back to the grid view. Notice the gold trim. So now if I select any of these images here, and what I'm doing is I'm pressing the control or the control key on the PC, command on the Mac, and just selecting any of the images, because that has the gold trim around it. From here, if I right-click, adjustments, synchronize adjustments, it'll synchronize all the white trim photos with that gold trim. Now, all of these have that same identical look that we just created. Now, from here, notice I didn't do any of the cropping because cropping is not stored in the look. So from here, let's say we come in, and as soon as I have it come up, I want to crop the image. Here we go, crop. I'll leave it at the regular dimensions. And either you like it or you don't like it. I'm going to do what's called a Dutch tilt. So I'm going to slowly tilt it just a bit. There we go. And here we have it. Done. And then here's the image. And let me hide the looks for a moment. All right, so here we have it. So that's how you quickly batch process. And I'm going to go through this again in a moment. I have all these images here. From here, I could just select all, right click, and then apply it. They're all batch processed. Now I can send them off to the client, let them decide which are their favorites, and then I get to come back and check off their favorites and do extra editing to them. All right, let me just double check. Good. All right, so now that we have that set, that took us a whole maybe 4 minutes. Now I want to go over and show you how I would approach a shoot like this. So here's all the images. And I'm showing you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to go all the way to the top. Here's the original. When we started out shooting, we did the first setup in here as soon as it catches up with us. We did some experiments because I wasn't quite sure how that pegboard would throw the light through it. Let's pull it up. It's going to take a little while because of the broadcasting and stuff that I'm doing. In fact, you know what? I'm going to just click on one to speed up the process. So notice, look at this. It wasn't anything special. I look at it, we said, okay, well, let's see what we can do with the background to see if the background will look cool. We couldn't get it the way we wanted it. I even added a blue gel to the light, because what I wanted to try with the blue gel is I wanted to see if we could throw the blue light through the peg holes and have it come out looking really cool. It didn't do what I wanted. So instead of wasting time on set, let me pull this up a minute. So instead of wasting time on set, we ended up just shooting it as is, and now we're going to add the blue in a moment. Let me reboot for a moment. In fact, Windows is locking me up. 1 second. There, and by the way, Windows 10 just came out with a cumulative update. Be careful on your updates because it took a while for the computer to boot up today after the update was implemented. So let me pull this up real quick. Task Manager. Here we go. Luminar 4. I'm going to shut that down and pull it up. Good, here we go. I can hear the poor computer struggling right now. So again, Windows 10 just did an update. You'll notice on the bottom, it changes a lot of the aesthetics of Windows 10. But whenever you do an update, again, just be cautious. All right, so here we are. The first maybe 2, 4, 6, maybe 36. The first 36 of them I didn't like. Right about here is when it started falling into place. All right, so out of the green dress, I grabbed a few. The white dress, I did everything I could. I just wasn't feeling it. She is a very, very small person. This white dress made her look way too big. So you'll see what I mean when I come down a little bit further. So I selected the ones I could think of. And here's the setup, by the way. So this is what it looks like. We had a beauty dish up on top, a flat dish off to the left, and then we had a strip box behind her. And then underneath her, we threw a little light. So it was a complicated setup, which we kept building upon. And then we used a fan to get her hair blowing. See, so these white one dresses, I wasn't a fan. Then we switched over to the black top. It started getting better. And then the blue. So I went through ahead of time, selected my favorites. I want to pick one out of each and then give these to her as a finished product and then go back over and select any of the ones she wants to edit. So I gave you the example here where we picked this one, we applied the edit to it. Now, to add it a custom to make it look even better, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add blue all the way around it because that's what I envisioned was a blue gel pushing through those lights or those pinholes. So I'm going to come down and select Photo Filter. Give it a generous amount. Change the hue right about there. Looks good. And then for the brush, let's see, go back up. Here we go. For the brush, what I want to do instead of, let's try this. Earlier I painted in, let's erase. I want to erase at 100% opacity. And I just want to erase the effect on her. Now, I am going to let it come over a little bit. Let me move the brush down a little bit. And go on her hair because, again, that's something that's what the light would be doing. It would cast a shadow or it'll cast a color reflection on her hair. That's a little too much, which we'll come back and fix. I'm going to paint again right around here. So the color cast is coming in. That's it. Now let's take that opacity and bring it way down. Now I want to erase it again. This time I'm not too concerned because I'm only erasing parts of it. There we go. There. Maybe on the tips. There we are. And let's just check it. Yep, there it is. So that looks good. And we're done. All right. Now I can continue trying to change the color. I think right about here looks good. That's great. All right, let me show you the before and after now. Ready? So here we are. Here's before. And here's after. All right. So what I would do is I would take that particular one. Let's say give it a 5-star. So now we have the blue dress done. From the white dress, oh, I like this with her attitude. Yep, I like that attitude. Give it a second to refresh. Crop it. And again, we did everything we could to try to keep the crop inside what we were doing. But because we had such a very limited, it was like a 4-foot by 8-foot panel, we had to be very cautious in how we did it. I'm going to take that tool, I'm going to rotate it because I want the dots to be completely straight. There it is. Good, now let's check her eyes. That's it. And good, so we have this, we have it cropped, ready to go. Now let's apply that soft beauty to it. There we go, look at that. Much better. Ooh, I like that. Now, good, if it comes off, if this is coming off and it's still processing, here it goes. Now, in this case here, because I shot her straight on, her face does look a little heavier. So I'm just gonna slim it just a touch, just to complement it, because I know her and that's not what it looks like. A little bit more. Good. Before. After. Look at that. I'm going to do just a little bit more. Right about there. Hello, Julie. Good. So there we have it. So again, make that a 5-star. Then you would look at one of the black dresses. Let's try this one. Same thing. Under the looks. And we'll apply that beauty look. All right? So you're getting the idea. So by developing a look, we can batch process the entire set, but then we go back and pick our favorites, send them out to the client and say, okay, here are my top 5 that I really like. Here's the rest of them. They have no idea that you've already did some editing to it. They just look really good. The eyes look good. The blemishes are removed. The skin is softened. The eyebrows are developed inside the portrait tools. The lips look redder. The teeth are whitened. It looks like you spent hours and hours and hours on this. In reality, all we did, so right here, is create one look. We applied it, and then we batch processed it to the rest of them. And then when we're done, like in this case here, I would do a quality control check and say, okay, well, it was very, very good, but I want to bump up the shadows just a little bit more for this particular image. Then I want to crop it. Right like so. And boom, we're already set. And now we're set. And if we want to add that blue or with that crop like we did earlier, I can come back and rotate it just a little bit. Now all the lights are lined up nice and tight. There we have it. Excuse me. And then from here, I can send this off to them, and then they can approve them. All right? So that's how we're going to batch process one look and apply it to the entire image, and the whole thing, with me explaining it, took less than 20 minutes. So stuff like this that used to take hours now takes seconds, because of that batch processing. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in here. One moment. Julie said, I thought you were talking. Oh, I thought you were taking it easy today. Yes, on my Facebook, I ended up at a resort Sunday. Today's Monday, yesterday, and I was relaxing in the pool, and that's where I used to do a lot of my writing. And you're right, Julie. I was doing all my writing on this episode. I got really excited because this whole week, I want to show you how to batch process images inside Luminar, how to use it from Lightroom into Luminar, and then how to use it from Aurora, how to take a bracketed image inside Aurora, process it, and then bring it back into Luminar. So we're trying this whole week about batch processing. So thanks for reminding that. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.